2014 C2 structural forms. The graphic on the right shows a clubhouse of a Dubai Greek golf club and yacht club. The design of the building was inspired by the sails of a ship. The projections of part of the structure are shown in C2 below, and an isometric view is also given of the curved shape. The curved surface is produced by translating a generating parabola ABC along another parabola EBD. The generating parabola ABC is represented by a dotted line in the outline in the end view. B is the vertex of the parabola ABC, and the parabola EBD is shown. Draw the given elevation of the structure. So just to explain it, at scale 1:100, that means with every measurement that's in meters, you change it to millimeters first. So that's 15,000 millimeters divided by 100, that would become 150. So basically with every measurement, you're putting on a 0 to each one. Okay, so 6 will become 60, 15 will become 150, 12 will become 120, and the height of that, instead of it being 7.5, it will be 75. You're multiplying by a unit of 10. You are told that EBD is a parabola, and you're asked to draw the elevation. You're also told that ABC is a parabola, and you're also going to have to draw it. So part A of the question is draw the elevation, part B of the question is draw the end elevation, and part C is drawing the plan. In order to do the plan, you're going to need a little bit of tracing paper, so just have it at hand. Okay, and off we go. So the first thing I'm doing is a parabola over here. As you can see, I've measured out the 60 and the 150, and there was 5 spaces in the middle, so I went 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. But we'll start off with the measurement anyways. So I've this divided up into 5, so I'm going to divide the side up into 5. So you're going to use line division. So draw a random line off at any angle, measure 5 spaces on it, bring the last point of the line to the end of the 75 high. Okay, and slide near set squares in order to get the parallel lines going on. At this stage, you should be well comfortable at doing a parabola. Every point is going to the vertex B. So bring the first line to B. Where it crosses on the first vertical distance is your first point. Second point to B. On the second line, you'll get to the second point. Third line, and so on. Okay, so as you can see, the curve is coming in. But on the left-hand side, you have 60 millimeters as well. So that can be divided up into another 2 places. And you can find another point on the left-hand side. Another 2 points, should I say, on the left-hand side. All I'm doing is transferring the height across. Yeah, sorry, mate. Okay. Once you have all of that done and you've located all of the points, all you're going to do is draw that curve in. Okay, and this curve can go in heavy. Okay, the last thing that you're going to do is create that angle. So I found the point E, and E joins back to AC. Okay, and you can draw the base of that. So that's the elevation fully done. I'm just going to show the elements going through this, so the different parabolas that are going on. Okay, so ABC, which is this line I'm drawing right now, is the main generating parabola. And that parabola is moving along the parabola EBD. Okay, so now that you've the elevation drawn and I've done all of the divisions, that was part A of the question. We're now moving on to part B, which is drawing the parabola ABC. Okay, the height of it is 75, the width of it is 120. And it doesn't really matter how many divisions you divide it up into, but you can use the same width on the left hand side. So I've done line division on the right hand side, so I'm just going to be a little bit clever and use those same divisions or heights to do my new parabola. So I've divided this line into 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can now divide this line into 5, and it's just cutting down my workload for line division. So I'm now going to divide the base line into 5. The end point of the line goes to the end. And you're then just going to slide your set squares, so put the second set square underneath. Okay, so there's nothing new here from junior cert drawing. These are just parabolas, and you're just carrying across orthographic to your basic shape. So none of this should be difficult. Everyone should be getting this, no problem. Okay, so I've this divided up into 5, and I've the side divided up into 5. B is my vertex, so bringing everything to B. First line with the first point, second with the second. Okay, and you're going to transfer those points across to the other side. And grab your compass in order to transfer them. Okay, so compass on the center, stretch it out to the point, transfer it to the other side. Do that the same with all 4 points. Okay, so when you've transferred all of the points across, you can then draw that curve in. Okay, and that's the generating curve ABC. So that's part B of the question done. Part C of the question asks you to get the plan of the structure. So basically this parabola, this one here, is here. And that parabola is being moved in every different position. And it's been moved along that parabola. So instead of drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different parabolas, the easiest thing to do is we get our piece of tracing paper and we'll draw it once on the piece of tracing paper, and we're going to use just transferring with the tracing paper in order to get all of the points on the base so we can get the plan. So I'm just going to move my drawing board up so my plan will come into the focus. Okay, and like I did the last day, I'm going to number these curves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and the fifth one doesn't really matter because there is no curve, there is no height to it. You can see 1 and 5 are the same height, and 1 and 6 are the same height. Now that we have all of those, we're going to start off with the first curve and find it in my end view. So the height of 1, just transfer it across, is here. Okay, I'm going to call it 1. And that means this whole parabola is moving down this distance. And I need to find where the 2 base points of that parabola will be. Grab your piece of tracing paper. Okay, stick it onto the page so you can accurately trace it. Okay, so when you're tracing it, just trace directly over it, making sure the page is flat. As best as we can. Okay, so label your points C, B, and A. And the most important thing to do with this is actually draw the center line, because then we can make sure that everything is symmetrical. And if you want, so that's why it's important to stick it down. The other important thing is just join A to C. Again, this is just making sure that everything will be symmetrical when you actually start to plot your points. So I'm just going to use the points that I found in order to actually draw this. So there was 5 of them on the left. I'm actually going to take maybe another point in the center there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and obviously C was an important point, and I'm going to take another point on the center there. Okay, now that I've traced it and you can see my curve coming in, with all of those X's, all you're going to do is get your compass and poke a hole in through every individual point. Make sure the hole is big enough so that your pencil can fit through it to transfer the point. Okay, and doing that for every single point all the way around the outside. And if you want, you can put in another hole if you feel that you need more points to transfer. Now this is baking paper, but obviously you can use tracing paper as well. It's just a little bit more expensive than the baking paper. Okay, so I have my initial curve. I have my tracing paper with all the holes in it. Now B is now moved down to position 1. So put B on the point 1, make sure your axis is aligned. And with each of the points, all you want to do is poke a little hole through with your pencil for each of them, and we're going to redraw the curve, and the most important points will be the ones on the actual ground. So as you can see, I have all my points, and all I'm going to do is join them together. Okay, now that I've joined through, the important points are the ones actually on the ground, because what I'm trying to find is this point in plan. So when I bring it down, I don't know where it's going, but from the end view, I can transfer them easily. So transfer those 2 points across at 45 degrees first. Bring them down and across, and onto the first line, you'll get your first 2 points. Now, a lot of people actually only do 1/2 of the curve, so they only draw 1/2 of it. And what they do then is they transfer the height that they get over the other side, and it will make sure that it is perfectly symmetrical. So I'll show you that for the second one. Bring across the second height. Okay, so this is height number 2. Put B on 2, center on the center line, and this time I'm only going to do 1/2. Okay, and you can see the difference between both. So just do 1/2. Okay, and as you can see, my point is there. Transfer that at 45 degrees. Bring it onto the correct line. So that's the second line. Sorry, that's a little bit inaccurate. There it is. Okay, get your compass. And all you're going to do is transfer that distance the other side from the center line. Okay, and that's just making sure it's definitely going to be symmetrical, because you might have this inaccurately aligned, which means when you do transfer it the other side, there mightn't be the same distance. So now that I've that done, so I'm just going to just push this up so you can see it a little bit more. Okay, so you should see my new point coming in. I'm going to take the third height now, bring the third height across. Okay, height 3. Get my tracing paper for a third time, put B on 3, making sure it's on my center line, plotting all these points again. Okay, as you can see, my third curve coming in, and it's the point on the actual ground that's important. Bring it across at 45 degrees. Transfer it onto the line 3. Take your compass and transfer it to the other side to make it symmetrical. Okay, and now we're on point 4. Bring 4 across. Get my piece of tracing paper. Put B on 4. Make sure it's on my centre line. Mark the few points that you need. Okay, see where it touches on the ground. That's the important one. Bring it at 45 degrees. Bring it into the line. Transfer it the other side. Okay, and we almost have this plan fully finished. Now, as you can see, my points are coming in here fine, and I'm able to get that curve. But if you wanted to, you could do one more division inside here, and I actually am going to do that because it'll make it easier to draw this curve. Now, it doesn't really matter. I'm not measuring a distance, as you can see, but I just want to get one more point in this. I'm going to call it 7. I'm going to bring it across. And the reason I'm doing this is because my curve is so sharp here, I don't really know the angle or the arc distance to bring. But if I bring another line or another point out, so I have it there, bring that at 45 degrees, out straight, and bring 7 down to meet it. It just makes it easier to draw that curve in. Okay, and you can transfer that the other side, again, to make it symmetrical. Okay, so I'm just going to draw that bit of the curve in heavy so you can see it easily. And then I'm going to do the left hand side. Okay, so that's basically it. Now you can put those construction lines in to show the different parabolas that you had. So we had this one first. That was the main generating parabola, it was ABC. And this was line 1. And basically I'm just replicating what the question had. Line 2. Line 3. Line 4. Now I put in an extra line, as you can see, just in order to get that curve a little bit more accurate. You could even put in another one if you wanted to get another point, but you weren't asked to. I'm just going to bring this down now because you can see that I haven't accounted for points 5 or 6. Now 5 was the same height as 1, and I've already this curve drawn, okay? And I've already got the height of where it touches on the ground for 1. But 5 doesn't touch on the ground. 5 touches a particular height up. In order to find that point, and it's brilliant that we have the curve fully drawn because this is why you need it, you'll bring 5 across, and I'm going to do this in colour so you can see it. I'll do it with a red pen. 5 stops there, bring it across. 5 and 1 are the same curve, so I have 1 drawn. I'm just going to label it 5 as well. Where it touches on the curve 1, so that's that point there, that's where 5 will be in plan. So all we're going to do is bring it down. Okay, at 45 degrees then. And across to the correct line. So I haven't actually the line drawn in yet, so I'm just going to draw that in quickly. And again, you can't actually see that line that I've drawn. So I'm just bringing that across. And there's a point for 5. Again, you can transfer that distance directly underneath because it is symmetrical. And you're just reducing the amount of work on yourself. And then E, we already have. Okay, so E, we have that point, it's on the centre line. So we have enough points on the left-hand side now to draw that curve. Again, if you want, you can do more points, but you weren't asked for them. But what might make it easier is you're getting a better curve. If maybe you find another point inside here, you can draw a vertical line in, bring the point over, draw the curve, find the height of the point, and you'll get another point inside here to help you finish it off. Now, so what I've done at the minute is I've drawn the elevation, I've drawn the end view, and I've drawn the plan. It then says determine the true shape of the surface AEC. So that's this curve here. Because it's at a slope I'm not actually looking at the correct distances. So basically, that's the height of the parabola and that's the width of the parabola. If you want to, you can rotate this down and bring it down into plan, and you can draw the plan or the true shape of it directly on top of it, or you can go to one side, it doesn't matter. So if I'll do both to show you what you're doing really. So basically, to get the true shape of this, we can do rebattements, which is rotating it down, or we can do an auxiliary, or we can draw it to one side. There's a couple of options. So what I'm doing is knocking this down flat to get the true positions of them. And I'm just going to move my whole board to the left hand side so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so this is point 5 and I've knocked point 5 onto the ground. This is point E and I've knocked E onto the ground. So I've brought down 5 and 5 is at this point. So just bring 5 out to meet it. Sorry, now my board. So 5 will be there and E will be out here. Not sure if you can actually see that, but I'm going to move my phone so you can. Okay, right. So I rotated E down. I brought E down onto the centre line and there it is. I've also brought down 5, rotated it down and brought 5 out to meet it. So I've got 3 points on the curve. Now 3 points really isn't enough. You'd need to maybe get a couple more points just to make this a little bit more accurate, so you can see it a little bit clearer. So I'm just going to do that now. So you could find multiple more points on this. So let's say I'm going to choose that point there. That is part of a parabola. Okay, and you can draw part of that parabola, but I'm going to find it down in plan next. You can rotate it down. And I'm assuming that that's that point there because I have it on my curve. And you can bring it out to meet it. Okay, so I have another point on it. I'm going to get another point. Rotate that point down. Okay, bring down your point, see where it is on the original curve, which is here. Bring it out and see where the rotating line actually finished. So now I seem to have plenty of points to actually draw that curve in. Now that one seems to be a little off. I'd say that's because my arc here is just slightly off. Now that I have half of it, I can just transfer the other half over and I'm fully finished. So I'll do that now quickly. Okay, compass. So what I've done is I've got the true shape of that curve. Take the point from the centre, transfer it underneath. Take the point from the centre, transfer it underneath. And finally take the point from the centre and transfer it underneath. And then you can redraw that curve as best as you can. There. Okay, so what I've done is I've found a true shape of the curve AEC. If you wanted to, you could have done it out to one side. So what you do is you take this distance on your compass, that would be the height of the parabola. And then you take this distance on your compass, which is the overall width of it, and you transfer it along the base, and you can draw a parabola whatever way you'd like to draw a parabola. And that's the full question done. So I have done, and I just need to label it now, A, B, this part is C, and the true shape underneath here is part D. Okay, and that's the question fully finished.